Hello and hello. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm kind of excited because Friedrich Merz, he's starting to stand up. He's starting to stand up a little straighter lately. Okay, and I enjoy that. I know he's not the most popular dude in the world, or in Germany, I should say, necessarily. He's also not the most unpopular, but you know, whether or not you agree with his specific policies, whatever. I'm just saying, from my standpoint, what I care about is I want to see the world leaders, I want to see the world reject Trump. Okay, that's what I want to see. I want to see Trump fall flat on his fat face. Anyway, sorry. And Merz is helping push him over lately, okay? Figuratively, of course. So here we've got a clip. I've seen some headlines. This actually made headlines here in America once again. It was like Merz threatening a big deal with China. You know, he's looking to turn away from the U.S. He says, okay, you don't want to play friendly? We'll go to China. You know that's going to piss Trump off. I don't think Trump has made a late night rant on his Ministry of Truth about this yet. But when Mark Carney did something similar, Trump did, you know, it really pissed him off. So I'm hoping Trump is pissed off about this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me just see what he said. There he is.
Sehr geehrter, lieber Gordon.
I might need some captions.
Kollegen aus dem Deutschen Bundestag. Und wenn die Amerikaner glauben,
If the Americans believe that they can now go one better with high tariffs, contrary to the
Sorry. I don't like captions when there's a voiceover.
und wenn die Amerikaner glauben,
If the Americans believe that they can now go one better with high tariffs, contrary to the agreement we reached in August last year and put us under pressure once again, then we in Germany and Europe will respond with high tariffs of our own. If they believe that tariffs are more important than taxes in their own country, then that is something that the Americans can, of course, decide for themselves.
Wow, he seems kind of angry, which I enjoy. Hell yeah, dude. The whole world needs to get pissed off at Trump. Mainly here in America. And people starting to. I mean, people have been pissed off at Trump for a long time. But what I'm saying is, even within MAGA, it's starting to turn. The tides are turning, guys. And I couldn't be more happy about that. The sooner he's ousted, the better. Anyway. Not that that's an easy goal, but it is the goal for me. Anyway. Yeah, the slightly funny thing about what he's saying is, if they want to use tariffs instead of taxes, and it's like, of course, we all know, and as confirmed by a study that was just recently done, and is also obvious if you just look at empirical data, the tariffs are effectively a tax on the American people for the most part. Now, it also can impact the profit margins of the exporter, but the bulk of the tariff effectively is paid by the U.S. importer. Now, the entire tariff is paid by the U.S. importer. Don't get me wrong, of course. On paper, the entire tariff is paid by the U.S. importer, but that's not really the question. The question is the exporter subsidizing it in some way, negotiating with the tariff in mind? And it turns out, not really. Not really. The U.S. importer is just having to raise prices, and it's effectively like a new sales tax on the American consumer, which is, of course, inflationary because that tax is built into the price. Anyway, so, yeah. It's like a stupider way of doing taxes. It's a totally regressive way of doing taxes. It's a recessionary way of doing taxes. It's an inflationary way of doing taxes. It's all a disaster. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the reason I say it's regressive is because unlike a tax system in a normal country, a normal tax system, it's a progressive tax system where the rich pay a higher percentage. With a tariff or a sales tax, that is not the case. That is not the case. It's just a flat tax, effectively, across people. And a lot of times, a lot of these imported goods are, cheaper. So it's actually the middle class and the lower class that are buying these items. So it's actually potentially flipped. It's a regressive tax. It's absolutely a disaster. It's horrible. And it's also bad for our allies as well.
Again, then we in Germany and Europe will respond with high tariffs of our own. If they believe that tariffs are more important than taxes in their own country,
We've got to fight fire with fire, I guess.
then that is something that the Americans can, of course, decide for themselves. But it is not our policy, and I will say exactly that during my next visit to Washington. You can do it, but we won't go along
When's his next visit to Washington?
with it. And if you overdo it, we Europeans are perfectly capable of defending ourselves. I will agree that
He's been pretty strong.
this with Emmanuel Macron. I will agree this with Giorgia Meloni. I will agree this with the Benelux countries. Luke Frieden was in Berlin yesterday for a long discussion. I will agree this with the Northern Europeans and the Southern Europeans. I will also arrange this with the British and the Norwegians, who are not in the European Union. I will arrange this with the Canadian government, which has moved closer to Europe than it has ever thought and acted in a European way. Foreign policy and economic policy belong together just as much as defense policy and domestic policy. We can no longer separate them today. That is
He's cooking right now. This voiceover dude is having a difficult job right now, keeping up with Merz. Merz is going off. Holy crap. He just fit a whole lot into 30 seconds.
much as defense policy and domestic policy. We can no longer separate them today. That is why I will be traveling to China next week to discuss
My president can't even think this fast. I don't talk this fast.
future cooperation between Europe and Germany on this side and China on the other with this great Middle Kingdom, as it calls itself. Well, my father turned 102 on January 7th. I intend to do this for some time to come.
He didn't even say anything about China. I need to find another clip, I think. I mean, that clip was excellent. I freaking thoroughly enjoyed that. Let me see here. Together with our friends in Europe and Canada, elbows up. Look at the world just turning away from the United States. Great job, Trump, you absolute dumbass. Give it up, Germany. Canada. Ouch, the awakening. Yeah. Okay, well, this was the article I was referencing. This was really what I was looking for. I assume it's probably in that same speech, but different clip. I can't find the clip, though, but regardless, this is the article I saw, the headline, from Reuters. Germany will seek strategic partnerships with China amid U.S. tariff, Merz says. That's going to piss Trump off, for sure. Chancellor Merz on Wednesday said he would seek strategic partnerships with China during a trip next week as he looks to discuss future cooperation between Europe and the world's second biggest economy, while the U.S. leans on tariffs. Leans on tariffs and falls flat on our face on tariffs. Ooh. We have a strategic interest in finding partners in the world who think the way we do, who act the way we do. Damn. That's pretty awful if we've gotten to a point where it's like China acts more like Europe than USA. That's awful. That is just awful. Oh, for God's sake, that is just awful. What a disgrace. Get this baboon out of the frickin' office, okay? That's my opinion. And who, above all, are prepared to shape the future together so that we remain a country with prosperity and a high level of social security. All right. Let's go, Merz. Let's go. I like to see that. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.